Alright, you can see I've got this clamp down here. One thing I just want to note is that when you do clamp this down, you don't need to use real tight like metal clamps or anything. Just some whatever you want to call these hand clamps will work. Because you shouldn't be applying enough pressure to the metal that it's going to fly out and escape from these anyway. And when you clamp it down, you want to use some sort of like fabric or a rag or something. Because once you polish the side up, if you go and then clamp that side down onto a hard surface like the sawhorse here, or if you're using metal clamps, it's going to mar that nice little mirror finish you just did, and you're going to have to sand that out again. So just try and protect your surface there. And obviously, when you're applying the wheel to this, you want to be careful that the way the wheel is spinning is off of the blade, because if you go in reverse and go onto the blade, either the knife is going to go flying across the garage, or it's going to cut into the wheel and yank the grinder out of your hands. So you kind of want to work with the direction of the metal and the wheel, not against it, for your own safety. Same thing when you're putting polish on the wheel. Obviously I just got this block of polishing compound sitting here. If I just drop the wheel onto the polishing compound there, it's going to kick the compound across the garage. So you kind of want a gentle touch, and you want to go with the direction of both things. So the long way on the compound, the same way the wheel's spinning, like so. Not half bad. If you look real close, you can see again some of the irregularities in the metal that I said would show up on polishing if you hadn't sanded it out quite enough. But you could easily make that just as smooth as glass just by going down a little more with your sandpaper grit before you start polishing. I mean, if I'd gone over that with like 600 grit sandpaper before I polished, you'd never see anything like that. But I'm not about to start putting elbow grease into it like that. As far as I'm concerned, if you can't do it with a power tool, it's not worth doing. I'm polishing this whole blank because I just intend to wrap this with paracord, and so you could potentially see any part of the metal at any given time. So I figured just polish the whole thing, make it all look nice. But if you're gonna put some scales on here, and you wouldn't really need to polish underneath where you're gonna put the scales, obviously. You just need to figure out what parts are gonna be showing and polish those up. It's not rocket science. That's one whole side of it. I didn't go crazy on the handle section of it because You know, it is going to be mostly covered up by the paracord once it gets wrapped. And I noticed as I was polishing, there's a couple really big irregularities in the metal here. You can see real easy. I don't know if the camera's going to show them up real well, but you can see right here, and like a ½ inch above it, there's a step up in the metal. Because when I was grinding, or when I was setting the blade off, I must have kept going to that point and stopping rather than going along the whole length of the blade. So that, you know, that ground off just a minuscule amount more than the rest of the handle, but because we're polishing it, it's going to show up like daylight here. That's just how it works. Do the other side of the metal, and then I think I'm going to do the back and the edges, and we'll call that pretty much it for polishing. What I think I'm going to do though is this tip on here. I don't like the way that looks, and obviously it's going to be dangerous. You put it in your pocket, try to reach for it, you're going to slice your hand open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that tip right off of there, just make it a flat end, and then I'll take it downstairs, drill some holes in it, and use the Dremel, yeah, whatever that bit is, the carbide bit, yeah, the little one. And I'm just going to go back and forth, make that a nice little opening for the paracord, the lanyard to come out of and tie off to, so that it doesn't slip off the knife. And to get a nice profile on that, because if I go through it with a drill bit and then even using the Dremel tool, it's still going to be circular on the edges. So there's going to come a point at which I'm going to have to take handheld diamond files and just go at it just by hand. It'll take a little bit to get the corners on it, but without that you can't really make a square hole, you know. You can only do round stuff if you aren't willing to get a little. All right, do the other side of this, and then pretty much done. Hurry now to your Ontario Honda dealer and get one of the deals of the season all wrapped up. For details, see newspapers or HondaOntario.com. Okay, the scouts noticed me last. Actually, Dave entered the Mr. Sun shootout. I may go first round. Dry polishing the back of the blade here. This is going to be a little rough to do because I can't clamp it down when I do this, or at least not in any easy way. I think I'm just going to try and do it handheld, like so. That's what the gloves are for, right? That could have ended very badly. I'm sitting here with a knife pointing to my gut and it hits the wheel. Be more careful than that. Looks a little ratty right now, but that's just because it's got all the wax from the polishing compound all over it. Wash that off, it's going to shine real nice. Like I said before, I'm going to go cut this off and drill those holes in there so that I can get that little hole for the paracord tassel started.